want to be, leaders of our life rather than victims of the circumstances. And with me having also a mindful practice, purpose keeps on coming into the core of how we want to live our life. But sometimes when fear or when a sense of safety overcomes, we kind of lose the compass of purpose. So maybe a few words on staying focused on love and purpose and growth. What is a tool or an advice you would share?
I have, it's the active learning cycle. And you see, can you see that?
Yes.
So the way you run the active learning cycle, what can happen is that when we experience challenge, it plucks us out of the active learning cycle. That's just the time that you want to lean into the active learning cycle. That's just the time. And what you're looking for in running these experiments, you run the experiments of, you take any kind of an experience or an action that leads to an experience, and then you reflect on it. And what you're looking for is, does this lead me into a state of energetic contraction or energetic expansion? And we follow the breadcrumbs. You follow the breadcrumbs. So if you're noticing yourself in a state of energetic contraction, and then you notice that self-compassion begins to soften and open things up, shifting the tide into energetic expansion, you know you're on the right track. So rather than give you any specific tip, which I think will actually be less effective for you, I want to give you a process for finding your own answer. For me, I've got my Pandora optimized. So when I just do, I'm finding such healing. So there's so many ways of actually kind of reconnecting. There are an infinite number of ways of reconnecting to your purpose. And you find a doorway in through self-care. And ultimately, when you're in safety, which can actually pull you into, it's nested, safety is nested in a larger frame of possibility. So you can always bring a rim of self-compassion to whatever suffering you're feeling. And that's always the answer. Bring a rim of self-compassion and again, run an experiment of what does that feel like and look like for you, so you can actually, from that pivot point, ask the question. And I wouldn't go straight into what should I, what matters most now. I would actually first claim the ground of belonging, love and belonging for yourself before you ask that question, because you'll get a different quality of question without the pressure of having to actually live a meaningful life right now. It's a bridge too far. So it's moving through that level of self-compassion to get to meaning and purpose.
Thank you. Thank you. And I really truly believe that self-compassion and self-care is something, it's a notion that we still need to learn a lot about.